Hello, hello. Good afternoon. I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the Ketogenic Protocol uh, over 6 years ago, and how you might be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your Saturday. This is a live stream, so if you're seeing this outside of the times of about 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time, and about 12:30 or whenever we stop on Saturday, May 2nd, you're watching a replay. Thanks for being here. And hello to a couple of you who are here. I see familiar names and faces. Today I'm going to talk about, as the thumbnail and the title suggest, getting back to basics. Over the last 10 days or 2 weeks perhaps, I've heard from many people, either through one-on-one coaching or through our Patreon group sessions, live streams, etc., that many people have their hovers have stopped. They've started, the scale has started moving again. Their clothes are feeling looser. Some people have hit new lows, even during this trying time. Some people assume that during this trying time, people are going to gain weight, but there's never a better time to take care of ourselves, is there? So I like to ask people, and we ask each other in the group sessions. So, Michelle, what did you do to get the hover off your back and start losing again? I went back to basics. She says, I realized that I have, kind of become a little lackadaisical. And this is a recurring thing. Or people who have and then all of a sudden I haven't lost anything in 6 months. So we'll ask the questions, qualifying questions. Are you in ketosis? Are you burning fat for fuel? For those of you who don't know, the ketogenic protocol, as I learned it and have practiced it, is keep carbohydrate intake to 20 grams a day, total carbs, total grams, not net, or fewer. So you can certainly have fewer than 20 grams of carbohydrate, and I do. So 20 grams or fewer a day, total, not net. Eat fatty sources of protein, or, if it's not on page 4, don't eat it. There's a link below to Dr. Eric Westman's official page 4. But you don't even need a list. Just eat fatty sources of protein, non-starchy vegetables, maximum about a cup a day before they're cooked, maximum, not minimum. And leafy greens, if you want them, maximum 2 cups a day, uncooked. Maximum, not minimum. But then the next part is don't eat if you're not hungry, and stop when you're satiated. Those last 2 parts are the most challenging for almost everyone, including me. But anyway, so people be losing, they're happy, they're feeling great, boom, and things flatten out. So ask questions. And then it turns out, oh, you know what? That's right. I was doing great. And then I decided to look up some so-called keto-friendly desserts, which almost all of them have ingredients which simply are not part of the protocol. Nut flours are not on page 4. Nuts are not on page 4. Nut flours are not on page 4. Alternative flours are not on page 4. It's very tricky to try to incorporate baked goods into this protocol and not have carbs increase. Because if you stick to the 1 cup of non-starchy vegetables a day, maximum, and about 2 cups of leafy greens a day, maximum, if you consume those, that's going to get you to about 10 or 12 grams of carbohydrate right there. So, just try to think about, oh, now I'm going to have some, fake banana bread made with, I don't know what. Well, one of the bananas are not on page 4. Excuse me. A little bit of a runny nose. So it's back to basics. Another thing about page 4, and we were just talking about that on a patron video group session that I had this morning. Mayonnaise is not unlimited. This is not a food free-for-all. This protocol is not eat vast quantities like you're a conehead or something. Don't eat if you're not hungry, and stop when you're satiated. If you actually listen to your body, we'll take care of that. We have to kind of learn what actual hunger is instead of brain hunger when our brain is telling us to get more glucose into our system. But actual hunger is different. Now, peckishness, the first little twinge of, oh my gosh, my stomach is not full, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to eat. Around Go Keto with Casey, we say push the peckishness. You're a little bit peckish. Yeah, but it's not an unpleasant sensation. I can stay at the same level of peckish for hours, and then I'll eat something. Don't eat if you're not hungry, no matter what the clock says. If you're actually hungry, eat, no matter what the clock says. Stop when you're satiated. Now, that might mean that we really do need to retrain. You know, we are no longer members of the Clean Plate Club. If there's food left on your plate, fantastic. Save it for another day. Give it to your dog. Put it down the garbage disposal. Better it should go to waste than go to waste, right? But we don't want to waste food, so stop serving ourselves so much. That's another whole relearning process. And keep in mind, another basic. I don't eat the way I did. Even during the protocol, I don't eat the way I did 3 years ago. I don't eat the same amount of food. Why? Well, because I'm older. I don't need that much food. I've been essentially weight stable for 3 years. I could show you on my little thing. I don't use Fitbit for anything other than to track with my Aria scale. It's a wireless scale. And it tracks for the last 30 days. I showed my husband this morning, had to cover up the numbers because my husband doesn't know how much I weigh. I said, look at this. So it has a graph with the trend line. It was absolutely 100. The trend line was flat, and I mean flat. The rest of it looked like an EKG, because it goes, if all you saw was my trend line and it was an EKG, I'd be dead. But anywho, but I eat less food than I did. I haven't particularly lost any weight because I just need less fuel. I'm 62 years old. I don't need to eat what I ate when I was in my mid-50s. Certainly not in my mid-40s. Certainly not in my mid-30s. And I don't eat the amount of food I ate when I first started the ketogenic protocol. I ate a lot of food. But that didn't last long. Because if you're following the protocol and you start burning fat for fuel, it actually suppresses your appetite. We have to learn to trust that. That's a basic. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Don't be afraid. If that means I haven't really eaten very much today. Wow, I had a couple of strips of bacon and a fried egg this morning, and I haven't really wanted anything since. That's okay. Don't be afraid. Remember that our body consumes the energy it needs by definition between what we put in our mouth and what we're carrying on board. Don't arbitrarily deny yourself fuel for some reason. If you need the fuel, you need the fuel. Because you don't want your body to start to tap into lean tissue, which if you arbitrarily don't eat for, 24 hours, 48 hours, then it's going to find the energy it needs, but it's going to start tapping in because it needs the amino acids from the lean mass, from the muscle. If you're not consuming protein, it's going to find those amino acids elsewhere. So there's that. Now, let me just put in here. Spiritual, religious, cultural, political reasons for arbitrarily not eating. Absolutely. To lose another 2 pounds, not a great idea in my opinion. Just my opinion. I'm going to say this for the 1 millionth and 1 million and first time. So now it's 1,000,001 times. Do what works for you. I can only talk to you about what works for me. And frankly, I am so much like an every person that I am probably like you. Most people are very much similar in physiology as far as this goes. Not, we're all different shapes and sizes and genders and things. But carbs just are not my friend. They never were, and I didn't know. Another question that comes up. Hashtag Casey's pink drink. Tall glass, full of ice, about that much diet tonic water, and a splash of diet cranberry and a squeeze of lime. And a metal straw that someone kindly sent me. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, so those are the basics. Dairy is not unlimited. It's on the food list, but it's not unlimited. It's very easy to overeat cheese. It's very easy to overeat mayonnaise. A serving of mayonnaise is a tablespoon, not a big heaping serving spoon, like looking like Mount Olympus, but that's 14 grams, which is almost nothing if you weigh it out. I got out my scale the other day to see exactly what 14 grams of mayonnaise looks like. It doesn't look like much. And that's 100 calories now. As is said with the Ketogenic Protocol, we don't count calories, but calories ultimately count. So if I'm somebody, I probably eat 900 to 1,100 calories a day. Some days fewer, some days more, but I'm probably in about that 900 calorie a day range, because that's all I require at this point. If I have a 14 grams of mayonnaise and that's 100 calories, just keep it at 1,000 calories a day. 10% of my calories coming from mayonnaise, I probably don't need that. And that's if I hold it to 14 grams. I like mayonnaise, which is why I get out the scale to see what it really looks like. It's not much. Same thing with cheese. Cheese is limited to, it's either 2 or 4 ounces. I try to limit mine to 2 ounces a day. I can't remember what's on the sheet. Frankly, I haven't looked at the sheet in years. And of course, no nuts. No nuts are on the thing. If you like them and you can tolerate them and they work well for you, great. My husband takes a small palm full of almonds every day, and I make him almond cookies. I grind the almonds and I make him cookies. But he can tolerate it. He's been at his perfect weight since 15 minutes after he started this protocol. He never had a weight problem, but he, lost the extra 20 pounds he'd put on after age 50. And he works a physically demanding job, and he's very low percentage body fat, so he's high percentage body. He gets on his bicycle and ride 20, 30, 40 miles. He can tolerate it. Me, not so much. So find out what works for you. Some people can't tolerate dairy. Some people, it doesn't agree with them. Some people report that it just seems to not work for them. So there we go. Everyone has to find out their own thing. Heavy cream is not unlimited. Okay. So these delicious keto casseroles, they're essentially made with some kind of protein source, ground beef or chopped beef or chicken or whatever it is, and usually 2 or 3 types of cheese and some eggs and some cream. That's very calorically dense. So just keep that in mind. Keep in mind a basic 1 cup of non-starchy vegetables before they're cooked. So people like to brag about cauliflower pizza crusts. That's great. How much crust do you think you're getting out of that much cauliflower? So if you make a pizza pie with a cauliflower crust and then you eat half the pie, you're probably eating more than 1 cup of non-starchy vegetable, and your carbs are going to be higher. It's very easy to have carb creep. So just be on the lookout. You do not have to pound back fat. It is not the presence of the fat that counts. It's the absence of the carbs. Those are the basics. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, total, not net. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. And this continues as you lose weight. It still continues because you're still going to not eat if not hungry and stop when you're satiated. So you will be progressively eating less food, probably. Not day over day over day, but month over year. Excuse me. I'm going to turn my attention to comments, and I appreciate people who do comment. I do want to, 2 things. On Tuesday of this coming week, so that's the, whatever day of the week that is, the 5th, the 6th, the Tuesday, 6:30 p.m., Dr. Eric Westman's Durham support group meeting, which has been held every month for about 10 years in person. Can't do it in person. So we're going to have it a live stream. It is a registered event with a small fee. That fee is all the proceeds are going to support Dr. Westman's goal of masks for all in the Triangle area of North Carolina. Also, Jackie Eberstein will be attending, as will my friend Amy Berger. And you can register for that. It's on Crowdcast. Let me see if I can get it going. There, I just posted a link to it. So that should be fun. Starting at 6:30 p.m. We'll go for about an hour and a half. You can enter questions in advance. You don't have to enter any questions if you don't want. But you'll see if you register and get in there, you'll see what I'm talking about. And the other thing is my friend Amy Berger has a book out called The Stall Slayer. And it's a very learned book. It's, it's not gimmicky. She's smart. See, if I was going to write a book about how to break a stall, I would say eat less food, but she's smarter than I am. So check out her book, The Stall Slayer. It goes into the who's, what's, where's, when's, and why's about Durango Keto with Casey. We don't call it a stall. We call it a hover. Try to come up with more positive words. But I like my friend Amy. All right. Hey, Jennifer writes, Dr. Westman is great. Yes, he is. And yay, Amy, writes Nance. Hey, Amy Berger in the house. Amy Berger's right there. I didn't know you were here, Amy. Have you been checking? Because I try on these public live streams as opposed to my patron-only live streams where I'm looking at the comments like this. I'm trying to look at you guys. But let's look at, Amy, you don't mind me saying that if I was to write a book about breaking a stall, I would just say eat less. You take no offense of that, do you? Debbie writes, hi, Amy. Listen to Householder. You are the best. Oh, thank you. I didn't need to read that one out loud. Hey, Gray's Custom Trim. I'd rather have 1.5 boiled eggs over the mayo. Keeps me satiated. See, that's the thing. Absolutely. Now, Gray's Custom Trim. Can I call you Gray? Gray, can you share with everyone your weight loss, your experience? Because, here's my experience. The people with whom I speak and the people from whom I hear who have been the most successful just didn't play around. Did not play. And I will say that is my experience. I just didn't play for whatever reason. I'm not Wonder Woman. I went back and forth on low carb since 1977. Most of the time, most of the time I would say I would try the different things because we want to hear what we want to hear. And it was a lot easier to hear and strive for eat anything you want, just move more. So I tried the move more and the eat less, but eat anything you want, right? Sometimes messages are not what we want to hear. Do you think that people who smoke 2 packs a day want to hear that you can add years onto your life if you stop smoking? They don't want to hear that. Do people want to hear if you want a successful, committed relationship, you gotta put work into it? It's work. No, people don't want to hear that. They want, the Bachelorette and everything ending up happily ever after. Okay, Nancy B writes, I've had COVID pounds creep. Thanks for the encouragement. We were talking about this before. There has never been a better time to take our health seriously. The people who are at greatest risk for a bad outcome with COVID-19 are those with diabetes. Amy, do you happen to know, is it type 1 or type 2, or is type 2 particularly worrisome? And then people who have high blood pressure, hypertension, and smokers. So God forbid, if you're somebody with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and you smoke, and you're a male over 65, egads, don't leave your house. Okay, Grace, Custom Trim writes, listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Down 281.8 pounds since April 15th of 2019. Simple keto, real food. That is unbelievable. But I believe it. my friend, she's become a friend, and one of my, I don't know, she's a patron, but she's my friend. She's lost 217 pounds. And she said she just stuck to the program. That's it. I mean, that is 280. God, yikes. I'm so pleased. And I hope I didn't put you on the spot, but you've shared your numbers before, Gray. And I'm going to call you Gray just to make it easier. Judy Tucker. Hey, Judy. From Hopkinton, Iowa. Started 2018 when I found Casey. I lost 130 pounds eating only from page 4, and I still eat that way. Won't stop. There's no reason to stop. So, you hear comments when you expose yourself on a stage, as I've done. I have a minor stage. There are people with huge stages, but you expose yourself and people write comments. So a couple of weeks ago, under one of my live streams, someone wrote, something to the effect of, Casey, we get a grip. What was it? A slice of bread or a nice bowl of ice cream won't kill you. And what won't? And I responded, no, it won't, but it will make me feel really bad. But the bottom line is, it won't do me any good. It will service me in no way whatsoever. It will not do me any good. I don't need ice cream. It's not a health food. I don't care how you prepare it. And keto ice cream, so-called keto ice cream made with heavy cream. So if page 4 limits heavy cream to 2 tablespoons a day, how much ice cream are you going to get out of 2 tablespoons of heavy cream to make ice cream? It's not worth the effort. Like Gray said, I'd rather have a boiled egg. 1.5 boiled eggs, which is going to be approaching 100 calories, which is nutritious and satiating, rather than 14 grams of mayonnaise. Jennifer Pierce writes, Casey, so grateful. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. And I've come to know that it reads Stewart, but I know that it's you. DB Sally, inflammation. Yes, this is one of the first things I noticed, and I had a lot of weight to lose. I wish I could screen share and show you. I don't think I can screen share. Do any of y'all know that if on a YouTube Live, you can actually screen share? I don't think so. You can go to my blog, link below, see my before photos. I was perfectly round. And none of those photographs are from my heaviest. Not even close. What was I going to say? Oh, but one of the first things that I noticed when I started this in earnest was that my joints in my hands stopped hurting. And this is a very anti-inflammatory way to eat, which is one reason it's so important when we're at risk of being exposed to a virus that is extremely contagious. And we need our defenses at the ready. We need our bodies to be able to do what our bodies are designed to do, which is fight off infection and inflammation. We are designed that way. But if our bodies are off busy elsewhere, trying to deal with unregulated blood sugar or hypertension, or dealing with the fact that we're smoking and our lungs are going to be inflamed, or we have rheumatoid arthritis, or we have acid reflux, all of these are inflammation, then our defenses are limited. I feel I'm not impervious. I take precautions. My husband takes precautions. He goes out in public, which he does do. He's a critical trade. He's wearing a mask. He's washing his hands raw. He is wiping down every surface. By the way, I just made myself some homemade wipes. Plastic container. I cut up an old sheet into squares. 1/2 cup Pine Sol, which I happen to have on hand, and 2.5 cups water. Take it out, wring it out, wipe things down. Anyway, we take precautions. But I do feel like an invader would have a challenge making me sick. Now, I don't say that to talk anything into existence, but there's never been a better time to get healthy, ever. Everyone's loving on Gray. Yes, that is right. Right, Cat Cookie. Page 4 is Atkins induction phase for the most part. And Dr. Westman will tell you that. He will tell you, I didn't make this up. Or not I. He will say that he didn't make it up. He learned from Jackie Eberstein, who will be on the Durham Support Group meeting along with Amy Berger, and Dr. Eric Westman, and I'm going to try to stay out of the way, be a little voice in the corner, moderating questions. Dr. Atkins, he learned from them. And Dr. Atkins, the Banting diet. This goes back to 1863 at least. William Banting, an undertaker, who wrote, I believe, the treatise on corpulence, which means being fat. It is just the induction period. It's essentially it. Jennifer Pierce writes, I got rid of acid reflux. That's another thing that goes away almost immediately. Imperfect Pamela writes, you are so right. And who stops at one slice of bread or one scoop of ice cream when carbs are so addictive? So on responding to this person, I also wrote, yeah, it's not going to do me any good. And not for nothing, but one nice bowl of ice cream, which is the way the person had put it, for many of us would lead to a carb avalanche. And ultimately, why do we need ice cream or a cookie? One of my best-selling mugs and t-shirts is, I'm stronger than a cookie. Because we are stronger than a cookie. We think, I'm helpless against Godiva chocolate. Really? I think we sell ourselves fairly short. Now, that doesn't mean, I've had the peanut incident in my house about a year and a half ago. We had gotten a woodpecker feeder, and I bought woodpecker feed, which is peanuts, 15 pounds of it. And it got delivered, and I didn't pay any attention to it. My husband opened up because I was doing other things. He said, man, those peanuts are good. I said, wait a minute, those are woodpecker peanuts. He said, they are? Because they taste like peanuts. Then I realized they are just peanuts. Well, so I had some, and then I had some more. And not only are peanuts not on page 4, they're not even nuts. They're legumes. Now, it didn't cause me anything. And another later, over last time our kids were actually able to come visit us, made a feast. This was pre-COVID, and I had mixed nuts. And again, I kind of mindlessly ate them. And it didn't cause me anything. I'm flatlined as far as my weight. I didn't like the idea that I was mindlessly eating, because I did 30 years more than 30 years. I eat mindlessly forever. And I don't want to do that anymore. Food is not the boss of me, and it's not going to be. Period. I've had enough of that. Oh, by the way, how's everyone's pandemic hair? I'm trying to pat mine down. I am like, I missed my appointment that was scheduled before everything shut down. So my hair has gone many, many, many weeks without styling. So I'm trying to pat it down. So hope everyone's hair is, Amy's lucky. Her hair is long and beautiful, and she can go forever without cutting it. Vicky, hey, Vicky from Southeast Washington, needed to hear this today. Thank you. Well, thank you, Ms. Vicky. How are you doing? Now, Ms. Vicky, okay, and I always use her as the example. People say, well, good for you, but I don't have a gallbladder. Or good for you, but I've had a hysterectomy. Or good for you, but I have Hashimoto's. Vicky, you want to weigh in? Ketogenic. I have so many patrons here. I appreciate it. Amy Berger, is that uncontrolled hypertension versus controlled via medication? So Amy obviously answers. See, Amy is smart. I'm smart too, but she's learned. Excuse me, I looked down my phone, make sure it's not my husband. My husband is flying, and I always like to monitor. Teresa Bennett writes, waiting for my cookie t-shirt, and printing might be a little bit delayed. I ordered something as well. If you look below this video, I don't know if you can see it now. There's some like t-shirts and cups and different things. I do not produce those, and I don't fulfill them. I ordered one and I'm waiting, but production is obviously impacted for reasons. Where is a cat cookie t-shirt? Heather Silver writes, carbs are poison for me. Lost my last 9 pounds in April at goal and going to stay. Heather, that is great. And you've been around a long time, haven't you? Keto Diamond Channel, my hair is doing great. Love it now. Okay, cool. Jennifer Stewart writes, I have black roots, LOL. Okay, some people have gray roots and black hair. My hair is my hair. As I've often said, I just assumed my hair was blonde, and then I was informed that it's white. Patricia Harrington, carbs are poison for me. I must stop. And Jennifer Pierce writes, my acid cleared in 2 weeks. You're talking about your acid reflux? Really? Quicksland writes, no worries on hair, dreadlocks. Ha. I snuck into my hair friend Thursday, cut and color. Okay. So Vicky writes, Hashimoto, no gallbladder, multiple sclerosis, 65 years young. Okay. And what, you've lost 60 pounds, Vicky, something like this? Charlene Johnson writes, my hair is getting long. I'm thinking I might let it grow for a while. Yeah, well, maybe we'll figure out things. Okay, and Judy Tucker shares, my acid reflux medication is gone. Also, no blood pressure medication, gone. That is great. Just the level of medication that people are able to stop taking. Think of all the downstream effects on one's personal body, and then think about the impact on the rest of the population. But there is no medication, I don't think, that doesn't have some kind of side effect. Even aspirin does. And now just think of what's happening when you're taking blood pressure medication and acid reflux medication, and you're taking all the other things. You don't need me to tell you. Look, Haley, great Vicky. My sister has had MS. Quicksland writes, yup, 63 with dreads. Love them. So easy. My hair has no texture. I could not possibly. It just has no texture. It's extremely thin, and not thin, but it's extremely fine. Vicky writes, 56 pounds, but COVID had me getting lazy. Felt horrible. Back super strict, page 4, feeling better. It's amazing. People just, we just need reminders. That's all. We just need reminders. I need to remind myself that I don't eat if I'm not hungry. I need to remind myself. I also need to remind myself that I'm not an idiot. I call myself an idiot probably 27 times a day, out loud. And I need to stop that because I'm clearly not an idiot. But I make mistakes, and it's not that I'm a perfectionist, but I would like to hit a bare minimum of accuracy on things. Hey, Mona, if you see Mona has a little slice of cheese next to her, she joined the Go Keto with Casey Club on YouTube. Mona is in Istanbul. Mona, how are things going? Do you know how to balance salt and water in dry fasting in Ramadan? If we eat much salt at night, we get thirsty in the day. If we eat less, headache comes during afternoon. Mona, I cannot answer that for you. So in Ramadan, you are, the goal is to not eat until after sundown. Is that correct? Or is this an absolute fast? So I would, if I were me in your position, and I'm not, I would probably look to something very gentle, like Soleil water, which is rock salt in a suspension of water, and a water, and then the salt becomes kind of suspended, and it's very gentle. But I can't speak to that. There might be someone here that has more experience. Oh, Lori Jorgensen writes, what fun to catch you live. Yay, a keto treat. Cat Cookie, let your hair grow long. I'm looking forward to seeing folks with long hippie hair and big afros again. That's how fashion happens, right? Nicoletta Die Cut writes, speaking of blood pressure, I've always had high one and was on medication. After losing 100 pounds, a round of applause, with keto, I was put off medications, and now my blood pressure is lower than normal all the time. What to do? I'm not a medical professional. I cannot speak to that. But you may want to make sure you are getting appropriate amount of sodium, but you must do that with a doctor's care. That blood pressure is no joke either. Patricia Harrington writes, I've tried it too many times. I hope I've realized I don't need ice cream. Certainly not a bowl, because it leads me to more and more if I touch it. It's over for months. It's a killer, these carbs. It just is. We don't want to hear it. See, there are people making a fortune telling people what they want to hear. People need to make money. I don't think it's fair to do it at the cost of the health of the people who are listening to you. Everyone needs to find out what works for them. What I need to do is going to be extremely different than my 30-year-old son, or my 37-year-old son, or my soon-to-be middle-aged daughter, right? Soon my children, we're going to be the same age. But what works for us as individuals not only varies from somebody else, it can vary from a year ago, 2 years ago, like I said before. Mona writes, from dawn to sunset. Okay. So when you say a dry fast, you're not allowed any water or food during that time. Yeah, I think I would probably try the very gentle sip on. So you get a glass of water, you get the Soleil water, and I've got a jar of it in my cabinet. It's just a mason jar with a plastic lid. You don't want a metal lid. Get a chunk of rock salt, doesn't have to be fancy. Drop it in there. The water, it's chemistry. I think it's 27.5% of the will absorb. Water can plump up itself, but it's very gentle. So you just put a tablespoon of that in a tall glass of water and drink on that. And that might help with the sodium, but I don't know. It's really out of my expertise. Okay, GD says, if COVID set my keto off track, is it really truly sustainable over the long term? That's up to you. COVID didn't do it. COVID didn't do it, GD. What we put in our mouths is a choice we make. It's okay. It's just a choice. Don't put it off on COVID. Don't blame a cookie for what happened. Don't blame a pandemic. It's a choice. And I have heard from too many people who have hit new lows during this, who have gotten back on track because they want to be healthy. And it's kind of scary out there. Ultimately, what we put in our mouths is a choice. We'd like to hear that we don't have any control. That way we can eat all the Pringles with impunity, with mental impunity. It's not going to be with impunity, because if you eat a bunch of Pringles, it's not good for you. So that is your choice. Okay, I'm looking at what Sarah said. Supermarkets don't have many of my keto groceries. No coconut flour, no almond flour, no xylitol, no walnuts. Having trouble with keto snack. Okay, Sarah, thank you, Debbie. Okay, you may not have been here for first part. Back to basics. None of those items are on page 4. None of them are keto. None. They're all high in carbs. I've got coconut flour in my fridge right now. Hold, please. Someone gave me this coconut flour, okay? It's been in my fridge for probably 3 years. Two tablespoons of coconut flour. Can you read that? 8 grams of carbs. 2 tablespoons of coconut flour, 8 carbs. I don't eat 8 carbs in a day. So, Sarah, your supermarket, if it has bacon and sausage and some pork chops and some ground beef, and I know chicken's hard to come by. If it has poultry, if it has beef liver, get yourself that, a zucchini and an onion. You're good to go. Back to basics. And who needs snacks? Let's get away from the 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. Thank you, Debbie, for pointing that out. And someone says, order online, sir. I say, lay out that stuff. Do what you want. But we don't need snacks. Have a pickle. Don't eat calling it a snack. What I eat, some people might call a snack. But it happens to be my fuel. Gray writes, Mona, try half salt. if they sell it in your spice section. Gives you the sodium and potassium, which helps out with any headaches. Excellent tip. Thank you, Gray. And GD writes, thank you. You're right. It is a choice. It is a choice. And that's another thing we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear that. But the good thing is it's a choice. We are in control of it. We are stronger than a cookie or a chip or a bowl of ice cream. We are stronger than that. And FYI, please do not buy any product that's on the shelf that has the word keto on it. There's almost no prepackaged food that is actually appropriate. Almost none. And don't fall for the net carbs crap. It can say 3 net carbs. You look at it, it's actually 28 carbs. Do what you want. Do what works for you. But don't blame keto for what the net carbs did. Hey, Shell. It's okay. I am getting ready to wind up. It's okay that you're late. I'm going to give a plug for patrons, several of whom are here. If you like public content, thank a patron. My Patreon group, I do about 20 videos a month. Weekdays, sitting here without makeup and before coffee. And I have about a half dozen patron-only live streams a month and half a dozen patron-only video group sessions a month and monthly one-on-ones with me, plus access to a private hidden Facebook group. There's my plug for Patreon. But thank a patron if you like the public content. Okay, Nancy Edwards asks, what are your thoughts on alcohol consumption? Example, vodka and club soda. I have enjoyed wine and spirits throughout. If you don't drink, you don't need to start. Dry wines are okay. Amy can probably speak better to this. She knows more about wine than I. But keep in mind that if you're consuming alcohol, the liver needs to process the alcohol before it does anything else, as if the alcohol was a toxin, because alcohol is a toxin. So it has to process that first. So it might hit the pause button on fat burning. Or that's not, the liver doesn't burn the fat, but you know what I'm saying. And also tolerance can change greatly. Not only are we all getting older, if we're lucky, if our weight changes, if we are female, if we are, just be aware of your tolerance for alcohol, and it might change. Many people here have attested in our group, I'm a cheap date now. Oh, I have a bunch of wine though back there. You see that? I got that from my friend Lisa Pennert, who is our travel consultant for the late great Go Keto with Casey cruise, which we had to cancel. But she's also an ambassador for Boisset, I believe it's called, wine. And so I ordered a bunch because, we have to support small business. We have to support our small business friends. Shell writes, a miracle has happened. Hubby was diagnosed with prediabetes. I got to clean out my cabinets once and for all. So your husband's on board? Shell. I'm sorry he was diagnosed. Maybe it's the wake-up call. Nicoletta Dicott writes, you are right, Casey. I should consider myself lucky living at the countryside, raising my own chickens and pigs. Huge garden of veggies. We have 16 chickens. You can see my eggs. We're a little low because I've sold about 7 dozen. We have a very egg-centric menu in our house. No pun intended. Judy Tucker is a farmer. She's been one all of her life. I like to say, because there are a couple of farmers in my Patreon group, and I'm all excited about hauling some chicken feed, 25 feet from where it's stored to their hopper. Oh my gosh, I'm a chicken farmer in the middle of this middle-class residential neighborhood. Judy and another patron, Melanie, posted pictures in the hidden group about they each calved. They'd assisted in calving the night before. And Judy in the middle of a snowstorm. They're farmers. Okay, Shell writes, yes, he's full on board. No, it's a good thing. His dad's blood sugar was 600 when he passed away. I remember, that's right, Shell. Your father-in-law passed away last month. Eyes have been opened. There's another woman. She's currently, she's a patron, and she's done great. She's full on. Her dad died about a month ago from complications of type 2 diabetes after about 3 weeks after having part of his foot amputated. And she was so distraught because that was sad enough. But her mother and both siblings, brothers, diabetic and eating whatever they want. They're just not. But then she reported about 2 weeks ago that their eyes were opened. So her mother's like lost already like 8 pounds and all this stuff. If you're on diabetes medication, you must, if you start this, you must do it under doctor supervision because your blood sugar can drop too low. As Dr. Westman says, the medication can become too strong. So, okay, Amy writes, Ray, keto and alcohol. I did a video on this, but YouTube won't let me post the link here for some reason. Just search on YouTube, To It Nutrition, Keto and Alcohol. By the way, it's not scheduled yet, but Amy Berger and I, third Wednesday of the month, Amy, we're going to do it in May. We do Wednesday wine day. It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. She's in her place. I'm in my place. We do it through Crowdcast. People can sign up. It's a registered event. So I'm going to assume we're going to do it in May. And hey, listen, speaking of like Amy, choose your source or sources for information and then try to block everybody else out. There is so much conflicting information. And one person, you know, if this person's voice speaks to you, if the message resonates, great. If this person's great. And they could be contradicting each other. Find somebody who resonates with you and stick with them and then try to tune out because we'll all go crazy if you try to listen to too much. I recommend Amy Berger and Dr. Eric Westman. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Jackie Eberstein. That's what I say. Shell writes, hello, Amy. I need to download your book. Let me put the link back in there again. Shell, you were late. I put a link to there. I put a link to there. Friends. Gray writes, keto influencers show their keto bars and chips, then complain that they're in a stall. Total carbs is what to focus on. Don't play that carb game. And for those of you who don't know, Gray knows of what he speaks. 281.8 pounds down since April of last year. All right, guys, thank you very much for allowing me to be part of your day. Check out Patreon if you want some more behind the scenes kind of funky, up close and personal and body stuff. Check out Amy Berger's book. The Durham Support Group meeting is online. I put a link to that as well. I'll put another link because some people just come in. And proceeds from that go to getting masks for all for the Triangle area. It's Dr. Westman's cause raison d'etre right now. And I will see some of you when I see you, and I'll hope to be doing these on a weekly basis. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of your day. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, total, not net. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. And stay strong. Be kind to yourself. Be firm with yourself. And mostly be honest with yourself. That's hard. See you next time. Bye.